I recently just started reading a book by the Carnegie. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, but it's titled How to Win Friends and Influence People. This is the book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. It's a book based on communication, on just basically improving your communication skills and how you can interact with people and how you can lead people to success, interact with people to become friends. Although I have not gone in depth with it, but that is what I can infer from the title and what I've read with it in it so far. This book has currently sold over 16 million copies, and I don't think 16 million people would actually pick up this book just for fun. So you can tell just how much value is contained within this book. A book's value is not defined by its pages, but the book is just 267 pages. I've read books that are even, much more dense than this, and I don't think the value that can be gotten from this book is measurable. 60 million people with 60 million copies sold all around the world. This book is a treasure. Now, why exactly am I sharing this book? In the first couple of pages of this book contains an immense value. So once you got past the preface of the book, you proceed to another chapter of the book titled 9 Suggestions on How to Get the Most Out of This Book. I have read through the 9 suggestions, and just from reading the first suggestion of how to get through this book, I just knew that I was in the right place. I knew that I was holding the right book. I knew that this book is transformational. I knew that this book is actually containing a lot of value, immense value, and I want to share with you the 9 suggestions on how to actually get through this book. I'm not just sharing it for the basis or for the purpose of reading this book alone. I believe that the lessons learned from the 9 suggestions on how to get through this book would actually help in other sectors of individual life as well. For me, apart from using these 9 suggestions to get through this book, I would also be inferring it and using it in my study life. And that is why I want to share with you. I will be sharing these 9 suggestions with you, and I would urge you to equip it in your studies, because I believe that they are actually really powerful and they are very, very helpful. Now, the first suggestion is actually develop a deep, driving desire to master the principles of human relations. This is saying you actually need a drive, you need a purpose. You need to find a purpose deep within you. You need to find something that is a bigger drive than any distractions that could come your way. Be it studies, be it you wanting to set up a business, be it you wanting to succeed in something, be it you wanting to finish a course, learn a skill, be consistent with posting on social media, creating content, developing art, just name it. Find a deep sense of passion. You need passion, you need a purpose that is bigger than any distraction. That's the first point. Implement it in your studies. You need something that drives you. Is it the fact that you do not want to be poor as life goes along, or the fact that you actually want to become really successful from taking your studies seriously? There should be a deeper sense of passion, something that drives your desires, something that makes you want to get up in the morning to actually pick up a book and study, something that wants to make you continue with opening those books, to actually get on your laptop and continue that course. This applies to me as well, and I believe that you're clicking on this video, you know that you want to improve your study life, you want to improve your study habits. Find something that is actually greater than any distraction within you. The second point is read each chapter twice before going on to the next one. It could be your textbook, it could be that unit in that course, that video that you need to watch over and over again. Do not pretend to yourself that you have understood the content of a unit, of a course, of a book, of a book's chapter just from reading it once. Try to go over it again and again and again, time and again and again. That is what the second part says. The third suggestion is, as you read, stop frequently to ask yourself how you can apply each suggestion. For me, as a software engineering student, I learn programming languages, I learn networking procedures, principles, software engineering principles, and a lot of things. For me, this suggestion would apply in the sense that learning programming languages is not just for you to learn the principles and how it works and how many syntaxes there are in Python, or the fact, or just the fundamental fact that Java is an object-oriented language, or HTML, CSS is used for designing web pages. It's not just about that. Everyone knows that if that was enough to get a job, then everyone would be, would have a job. Everyone who studies software engineering or computer science would be having a job right now. The point is, learning coding or any programming language, it's not just about learning it. You need to apply it into everyday life. Did you learn HTML, CSS, and JavaScript and then use it to build different web pages? Use it to build your portfolio. Use it to showcase to employers what you've got, what talents, what skills you've got in your toolbox. No, don't just tell them, I know this. Prove it. Apply it. Think about how you can apply it in your daily life. Think about how you can apply it to actually solve a problem. Think about what you're studying, how you can apply it into daily life. As a medical student, there's a lot of scenarios in which you can use to apply whatever you're studying into daily life. Think about it. The fourth suggestion is underscore each important ideas. As you read through a book, you need to underscore it. You need to highlight it. You need to be with your pen and your paper and write it down, jot. I believe that the brain actually learns more from writing, because I usually discover that whenever I'm writing ideas down and writing as I am learning, it sticks better. So now the point here is highlight, underscore, grade, color match ideas, things that you want to come back to, things that you've learned, things that you're sure you've understood from your studies, things that you believe that, oh, I need to come back to this, or I need to grade this, or I need to write this in my, reminder cards, or things that I need to write on a sticky note, stick it onto my computer, stick it onto my wall, stick it onto my table just because I want to remember. You need to be writing, you need to be highlighting just as you go through your books, your studies. And I think this is really important. This is not talked about enough. The hand has so much that it does to my brain, because whenever I'm writing and I'm reading it and I'm jotting it down, it just does some magic. It just helps me to understand more, and I believe that you can also incorporate that into your own studies. Write, jot, highlight, mark as you read. Number 5 suggestion is review this book each month. I believe this is just like a really golden advice. Review it each month. Review your studies each month. It doesn't have to be each month. It doesn't have to be predefined by someone else. I don't have to predefine it for you. You can just choose when exactly. Could be a rotation of different study notes. You just rotating it, reviewing it, because studying something once doesn't make it stick. Studying something once doesn't make it stick. You need to set a schedule. You need to set a rotation schedule on, okay, this is what I'm learning today, this is what I'm learning this week, or I'm finishing this course. You need to have like a goal, a target. This is what I'm going to be coming back to since I've read it now, that I'm going to revise it later. You need to have this plan in place for how you're going to set your study routine, going back to your studies, going over it over and over and over again. It helps you stick. It doesn't make it knowledge, it makes it become a skill that is equipped within you to use for daily life. Number 6 is apply these principles at every opportunity. Use this volume as a working handbook to help you to solve your daily problems. Now, this obviously applies to these books. For me as a software engineering student, this will look for me like this. I am very good at using React for web pages, including HTML, CSS, JavaScript is actually everything is already included in the React library, because React is actually built upon JavaScript. So actually building a web page, if someone asks me to build a web page, then I would be using React at every given opportunity. I wouldn't be using another JavaScript library to actually build the web page, because I already am good with using React. Rather than using the native JavaScript, I would use React, and I would incorporate HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and also incorporate a backend service. For example, if I was building a web page for a business organizations that need to keep up with their inventory, sales, and everything, I would have to incorporate that. Now I'm using React at every given opportunity that I'm given. It helps me to improve on my skill. This also should apply to you. At every given opportunity, make use of the knowledge that you already have, that you have acquired. Stop working towards actually gaining more knowledge that are unnecessary. Make use of what you already have. You're already equipped with more than enough. So that is how I would apply this to study, into my studies, into my daily life of studying. The seventh principle is make a lively game out of your learning by offering some friend a dime or $1 every time he or she catches you violating one of these principles. This is just to keep a tab on you. Are you doing what you said you would do? Are you making sure that you're doing everything that you said you would do? Are you keeping to time? Are you studying? Are you going through with your rotations? Are you practicing at every opportunity that you get? Hope you are not violating any of the rules that you set for yourself earlier this month. Hope you are actually still keeping up with the desire to learn. Hope the distractions are still not much. If they are, then probably you would need to find a deeper sense of desire, a deeper sense of passion than you already have. So this is saying that if, for example, you went off track, you went off trail, you didn't study for about 2 weeks, then you should have had a deal with a friend or a family member to say, oh, if I don't do this within a set amount of time, then okay, this is my punishment, or I must pay you $100, £100, or anything as punishment for actually not going through what I said I was going to go through earlier this month. So this will keep you on track to say, oh, if I know that I have a lot of things to lose on the way, then I would actually keep up with what I said I was going to do. The eighth principle, which is the second to the last principle, is check up each week on the progress you're making. Ask yourself what mistakes you have made, what improvements, what lessons, what you've learned for the future. Now, I think this is very, very self-explanatory. I don't think this is centered only regarding communication skills or how to better human interactions as explained in this book. I think this applies to all values of life. If you're trying to learn a skill, if you're trying to study, if you're actually trying to improve on anything, on any habits, on any of your daily life or anything, I believe you should always have a way of tracking your progress. And now, when you track your progress and you feel like you're running behind, or your efforts are actually, or the results are shallower than the effort, then you should know that there's something actually going on. You should keep it on track with actually checking up with yourself. Am I meeting up? Am I working on this? Am I on the right track? Just ask yourself these questions at set amount of time for yourself. I cannot decide when exactly it is going to be for you, but you can decide when it is going to be, each month, each day, each week, each year. Decide. So check up on yourself. Am I meeting up with my standards? Am I meeting up with the goals? Am I meeting up with the things that I'm supposed to do? And the final principle, which is the ninth principle, is keep notes in the back of this book showing how and when you have applied these principles. Now, I think personally, some skills or some principles do not apply to everyone, and they do not apply to everything that a person does, and it might not apply to actually applying it in studies. But I do believe in keeping track of the things that you've done, keeping a tab on the things that you've done. For example, as a software engineering student, if I code something, if I have worked on a project, then I should have it in my GitHub repository to show employers that this is what I've done. It's a proof of my work to say I have done this, I have done that, not just the word of mouth. For me, keeping track of what I've done would be to create projects and then putting it on my repository and then linking it to my professional portfolio. That is what keeping track of my progress would look like. So you can decide on how you're tracking of your own progress would look like. But that is how it is for me, and I'll give you my own example. If you find that you can apply any of the principles to yourself, then you better do. I think they will do you more good than harm. No one can force you to actually improve your study habits. You can't be forced to actually improve your life, but you need to find a greater desire, something that is greater than any distraction, that would not cause you any distraction whatsoever, and find it and use it as an anchor that will keep you grounded and do the things that you said you would do. If you found this video helpful, then you should like, share and subscribe so that you can be the first to know whenever I share new videos. See you in my next video.